The year was 1995. Color inkjet printers and access to online services were becoming mainstream, so lots of people wanted to take photos and put them into their documents and email them to their friends and family. But how were you going to do that? Digital cameras were just starting to be introduced, but they were very expensive and could only take a couple photos before the memory filled up or the battery ran out. You could take photos using a regular film camera and then scan them in, but it could take weeks to use up an entire roll of film and get it developed, and a flatbed scanner took up a lot of space and cost several $100s. Besides, you just blew your budget during the summer on a new camcorder and a trip to Disney World. Hey, speaking of which, wouldn't it be great if you could use a video camera to take photos and transfer them into your PC? That's exactly what the Snappy does. Other video frame grabbers had already been on the market for quite a while, but they required you to open up your computer and install and configure an expansion board, while the Snappy fit in the palm of your hand and simply plugged into the parallel printer port of any 386 or greater PC, making it a lot more convenient for the average consumer. And it was a hit. Snappy received rave reviews and won numerous awards, and within 2 years it became the best-selling multimedia PC add-on since the Sound Blaster. And I think the advertising and packaging really helped contribute to that success, because the logo looks like a cartoon and the box looks like a computer game. So it's very eye-catching if you see it on the shelf in a store. It says, bring stunning pictures from video into your PC. And they say, it's easy. No screwdriver, no slots. Just plug Snappy into the printer connector on the back of any PC or laptop. Then connect your camcorder, VCR, or TV tuner to Snappy with the included cable. When you see a picture you want, click Snap, and in 1/60th of a second, Snappy freezes the video. Moments later, you'll have the highest quality video still you've ever seen on a computer. And despite its toy-like appearance, they really made big claims about its image quality, saying the best quality images ever. Snappy captures 16.8 million vibrant colors with razor sharpness. To achieve this breakthrough in image quality, Play, which is the company who made this, invented the world's first high-definition video capture chip. This revolutionary new chip lets Snappy create perfect video stills at record-breaking resolutions up to 1500 by 1125. It's the highest resolution video capture device ever created for any computer at any price. And there's a window in the box to see the Snappy product itself, and it says actual size. A lot more text on the back, which I won't bore you reading, but it includes $300 worth of powerful software, including Fauve Matisse SE, some kind of paint program, and Griffon Morph 2.5. Morphing, warping, and special effects. This is the original version from 1995. In late 1996, they introduced version 2.0 of Snappy, and that one came with Adobe Photo Deluxe and Kai's PowerGoo. And then in 1998, they had version 3. And finally, in 2000, they introduced version 4. But those later versions were all just software updates. The hardware device itself stayed the same. System requirements are Windows 95 or 3.1, 386, 486 Pentium or better, 4 megs of RAM, 4 megs of free hard drive space, and 640 by 480 16 color or better VGA graphics. And on the bottom it says Snappy can grab images from any video source, even copyrighted ones. So I think this should be immune to macrovision encoding. It says please respect all copyright laws, but yet in some of their ads they showed it being used of commercially pre-recorded movies on VHS. They tried to blur out the names, but from the style of the logos on the tapes you can tell what they were. And here's unboxing the Snappy. We get the device itself, composite video cable, and under here, floppy disks, Echo Lake Multimedia Family Album by Delrina, $10 rebate, and the big sealed manual. Look how thick that thing is, and that's pretty sure that's all English too. Thankfully, they also included a quick start card, so you don't have to read that thick manual if you don't want to, but Just says connect the hardware, install the software, and snap a picture. And you Amiga fans who are familiar with the video toaster may remember Kiki Stockhammer. Well, she was promoting this product.
Snappy is designed to be so easy to use that you can actually be as dumb as a rock and still figure out how to bring beautiful color, high-quality pictures right into your PC.
That's Kiki. She's talking about Snappy, the video snapshot. A new device that allows you to grab high-quality pictures from any camcorder, VCR, or TV and put them directly into a PC.
And there's actually a tie-in with the Amiga because the same company that made Snappy previously made another parallel port video still capture device for the Amiga called the DCTV. So a lot of that same technology went into this product. I read in the reviews that this thing runs on a pre-installed 9-volt battery, so hopefully that hasn't leaked and corroded all the circuitry inside. Best if used by January 2000. Wonder if it's still good. Hasn't leaked. Yeah, it's totally dead. I'm not getting any reading on my meter.
How much do you pay for dead batteries? Nothing. They're free of charge.
Oh, this is so bad.
Here's a brand new one. And it tests good, so I'll put that in. And it's all sealed in shielding here, so you can't really see what's inside unless you tear it apart. There it is, all back together with the new battery. And yes, it really does plug into the parallel printer port, but unfortunately there's no pass-through for a printer. So if you're using this and you want to print something, you have to unplug it and then plug in your printer. Although, as shown in the manual, you can use the Snappy with a parallel port switch box if you want to have it in a more convenient location or if you want to share the port with a printer. 2 RCA jacks, video in and video out. This unmarked pin connector on the side was for an optional S-video adapter which was planned but never released. And the first computer I'm going to use it with is this Gateway 2000 486DX33. The video chipset that's built into this only supports 256 colors, so we're not going to get those 16.8 million colors that the Snappy is capable of, but at least we can see if it's working. Here's the setup. The Snappy is plugged into the parallel printer port. The video in jack will be connected to the video source, and the video through jack is an optional pass-through to a TV for a live preview of what you're capturing. Just one little snag I noticed. This thing is so wide, and on this computer the printer port is so close to the video output that I'm having trouble plugging in my monitor. I think I can just barely get it connected here. So hopefully that's going to work. Here we are in Windows 3.1 running the setup from floppy disk, so hopefully everything's going to work fine. Okay, it says setup completed, and it's reminding me to complete the registration card and drop it in the mail today. Somehow I think if I did that, I would never get a response. I did not install the Morph or Valve Matisse software. I'm just using the standard Snappy video capture software that came with it. Here's my first setup. It's a period correct 1994 Sharp SlimCam full-size VHS camcorder, which thankfully still works, even though most of these have died due to bad capacitors. And my test subject is a holiday card I got from Heidi in Franny's garage. Now I'll run the Snappy software. Okay, there it is. We get snap, preview, adjust, setup, and help. So let me do preview. And that is showing what the camcorder is pointed at. It's only black and white, but I think that's just because it's a preview. Let me check the frame rate. Oh, that's low. That's what, 2 frames per second? That's the limitation of capturing live video through a parallel port. But let's see, adjust. It's kind of hard to see on this display, but it says tint, red, green, and blue. Color, brightness, contrast, picture, and sharpness. Under setup we get various options for live camera or tape VCR. I read that this has a time-based corrector, so probably if you have it set to tape VCR it enables the time-based corrector, but if you set it to live camera it won't use that because you won't need it. And then you have snap type, moving video, still video, high quality still, and highest quality still. Image type, color, black and white, color negative, and black white negative. Different resolutions, 320 by 240, 640 by 480, and 1500 by 1125. It has an option for the through to the TV. I'll switch it to connected. Then if I switch my video input on this TV to video 1, you'll see the live preview from the camcorder with perfectly smooth frame rate. So that's what the camera sees, and if we go back to preview, that's what the Snappy sees. So let me double check here. I'll set it to live camera, still video, color, 640 by 480, and I'll do snap. It's capturing. And there we go. The 640 by 480 image, the Snappy captured through the parallel port on a 486 33 megahertz PC. Displayed here in only 256 colors, but the file itself will hopefully be a full 24-bit image. Look how slow that's drawing. That's not Snappy's fault, that's this computer's fault. Just a very slow processor and video chipset built into the motherboard. So I don't think I'll be using this much longer. I'll switch to something faster, but at least we proved that the Snappy is working. Let's save our image here. I'll call it HFG for Heidi and Franny's Garage. Okay, that's saved. And yes, it did save that file at the advertised 16.8 million colors, which is a full 24-bit color image. It's uncompressed bitmap. I did a couple more stills in color. Now I'm going to try one in black and white because it's a black and white postcard. So I have it on live camera, highest quality still. I'll put it on black and white, 640 by 480. Now I've got those images captured, I need to copy them to floppy disks because that's the only way I have to get data off this machine. Now I'll give you a little slideshow of the images I captured using this 1994 camcorder and the Snappy on my 486 PC running Windows 3.1. I think that looked surprisingly good. The image quality is probably more limited by the image sensor of the video camera than what the Snappy was able to capture from it. But what about VHS tape? Videotape is an inherently unstable format, unlike a live feed direct from a video camera, so that puts greater strain on the ability of this thing to get a good picture from it. And no matter how good your VCR is, you'll probably get some noise in the picture when you try to pause it. So you probably have to do a frame grab from moving video, which will really put the Snappy to the test. And when capturing from a commercially produced tape with Macrovision encoding, that'll make it even more challenging for the Snappy to get a good image from it. For this test, I'm going to be using this ThinkPad T20 running Windows 98 2nd edition. Although I noticed you can't really plug in the Snappy with the ThinkPad just sitting on the counter like this because it's too thin and the parallel port is too close to the surface of the table. So the solution is to put the ThinkPad on top of a mouse pad to raise it up slightly, and now I can plug in the Snappy. I'll include a link in the description to a website where you can download all 4 versions of the Snappy software, and like I mentioned, the hardware device remained the same, so you can run any of the 4 versions, and they'll work regardless of which version your Snappy originally came with. I've installed version 2 here, and I think it's still actually a Windows 3.1 program because it's giving me this warning message that the program did not run correctly on Windows 95 and still may not run correctly due to enhanced operating system features. But I'll run it anyway. and it seems to work fine. So this is version 2 of the Snappi software. It's mostly the same except for a redesigned interface, but we do get some new features here, such as continuous snap, which you can use to generate animation, delayed snap, which gives you a 10-second timer before it does a snapshot. And I notice here it has an option for an S-Video adapter, but as explained on that website I mentioned earlier, that S-Video adapter was never released because all it did was combine the Luma and Chroma signals back into a composite video signal, and it did not produce any better image quality than just using the composite input. And under the adjust screen we get additional options for the resolution, including a custom size. So since this is a 1080p video, I'll tell it to use a height of 1080. So I've tried using Snappi to capture still images from various VHS tapes. The good thing is it doesn't seem to be affected at all by Macrovision encoding, but otherwise the image quality is pretty much what you would expect from VHS, soft and smeary with a lot of color streaking. And in case you're wondering, if you try to take a snapshot of moving video using the still image option, you end up with interlacing artifacts. Unfortunately, the Snappi is not multi-system. The version that was sold in North America only supports NTSC, and if you try to input a PAL video signal instead of fantastic colors, you'll get a black and white image with a herringbone pattern, and the bottom of the image will be cut off. There was a PAL version of the Snappi that was sold in Europe, but it was not nearly as popular as the American version. I wanted to see if it would be possible to use the Snappi to capture full motion video by using the frame advance feature of the VCR and capturing every single frame of the videotape to an image. So that's exactly what I did. I ended up with 65 bitmap files representing just over 2 seconds of videotape at 30 frames per second. Then I used a program called BMP to AVI to convert those bitmap image files into a video file. Of course, this won't have any sound, but I think the result is quite impressive. But as you can imagine, capturing video clips this way is very time consuming. Another disadvantage of trying to use the Snappi to capture animation is that you're going to burn through that 9-volt battery pretty quickly, because I just put a new one in 2 days ago, and the software is already telling me that the battery is low. The manual says you should be able to take up to 1,000 snapshots on a battery. I don't think I've done that much, but I've definitely used it a lot. And if I had read the manual, I would have realized that you don't need to unscrew it to take out the battery. You can just pop off this cover, and that gives you access to the battery. In 1998, the introduction of the Sony Mavica floppy disk camera made digital cameras more convenient to use than ever before. So to try to compete, version 3 of the Snappi started making the bold claim that it could upgrade any camcorder to an HD TV resolution digital camera for your PC. Obviously that's a rather outlandish claim, but let's give it a try anyway. I have this era-appropriate Sony Hi8XR camcorder. It's connected to the Snappi using a standard composite video cable. And although this is an analog camcorder, it does have a widescreen option if we go into the menu here and set 16:9 wide to 16:9 full. That actually adjusts the aspect ratio of the video. You can see how that crystal ball now looks like an oval because it's squishing the width to fit this 4:3 display. Although if you stretch that back out to a 16:9 aspect ratio, we will get a true widescreen display from it. Here is version 3 of the Snappi software, and is this a late 1990s computer game inspired interface or what? Wow. But anyway, I'll go into the setup here. I'll choose live camera. It's connected to the TV. I'll do highest quality still scene, And we get different choices for the format now, including JPEG and PNG and so forth, but I'll stick with bitmap. Then I'll go to adjust, and I'll choose a custom size resolution, and I was going to try 1920 by 1080, but it tells me the maximum size is 1500. So what I'll do is choose 1440 by 1080, and then when I'm editing this video, I'll stretch it out to fit the widescreen aspect ratio. It has an option here for high definition. I've tried it with this option both on and off, and I can't really see a difference, but since they advertise this high definition feature, I'll leave it on. And we can go to our preview now, and now it's actually in color, although the frame rate is still terrible. And in fact, you may have noticed that it now has an option to record video. If we choose preview to movie and Windows Movie AVI, it can actually record video, although it's better described as a postage stamp slideshow because the quality is only as good as this preview. Very low resolution and very low frame rate.
I'm always asked to play something straight, and you know it is not easy. All the way.
But anyway, I'll now go ahead with taking our so-called high-definition snapshot from the video camera. And you can hear it taking multiple snapshots. It's actually combining together multiple frames of the video in order to interpolate the resolution, which I'll talk about more later. And there is our high definition image. So now I'll give you another little slideshow of some images I took using the Sony Hi8 XR camcorder, so you can judge for yourself whether or not this counts as HD TV quality as they advertised. For a better look at the differences in quality of the various settings of the Snappy, here are a few close-ups cropped from some images I snapped. First, an example of an image taken using the moving image setting. Now here it is with the still image setting. It has better detail, but otherwise the resolution looks about the same. Now here is the high quality still image setting, and we can see a noticeable improvement in the resolution because the jaggies on the diagonal lines are now gone. And finally, the highest quality still image setting. It may have a little bit more improvement, but it's difficult to tell. And I also noticed the image has gotten slightly compressed horizontally, and other people have noticed that as well, so it's not just a fluke with mine. And those high quality settings really do require a perfectly stable video signal in order to get good results. If you try to capture a snapshot from a paused VCR, the little bit of jitter in its image will cause a snapshot taken using the high quality still option to actually look worse than a snapshot taken with the regular still image option. To give you a better example of how the Snappy is able to get such remarkable results, I set up a camera aimed at this moving diorama, or at least it used to be moving until the cheap plastic parts in it started shattering. But thankfully it stayed working long enough for me to get the shots I needed. When you take a snapshot using the moving video option, Snappy captures one field of one frame of the video signal, which is how it is able to capture a snapshot of moving video without blurring or interlacing artifacts. When you use the still video option, it captures one field of two frames of the video signal and averages them together to improve the detail and cancel out noise in the video signal. Since here I was actually using it to capture a moving image image, you can see we now have two Statues of Liberty visible. And when you use the high quality still setting, Snappy captures both fields of 2 frames of the video signal, so it's combining and interpolating 4 snapshots, which is why you now can see 4 statues. And when you use the highest quality still setting, it captures both fields of 4 frames of the video signal for 8 snapshots total, and you can see if you do that with a moving image, you just get a blur. Unfortunately, despite creating this advanced technology which was able to capture near HD quality images from a standard composite video signal, the story of Play Incorporated, the company who made the Snappy, does not have a happy ending. Their co-founder, Paul Montgomery, passed away in 1999 at the age of 39 due to a heart attack, and the company really wasn't able to continue without him. They did release version 4 of the Snappy in 2000, which was a minor software update, but the company went out of business shortly thereafter. In 2001, their assets were acquired by Global Streams Incorporated, who had no interest in continuing to market the Snappy, and by 2002, the remaining inventory was being sold off at deeply discounted prices. And it seems like very few people remember the Snappy today, which is a shame because they're cheap and plentiful. I got mine for $19 plus shipping on eBay, new in the original box. It has worked perfectly the first time on every system I've tried it on, which is something you definitely can't say about many other 1990s PC multimedia products. And it's fun to play around with, and I've gotten excellent quality results using it.